Hello, and thank you for spending some time with me today. My name is Derek Mitchell, and it's been a long time. It's been over a month, and there's reasons why I haven't done any videos, but I wanted to just say thanks for spending some time with me today. So, what's been going on? Well, I've been starting a new role with my job, and so been pretty busy learning all the information I need to be successful in that position. So I've been focusing on that, and during that time, I've gone through some struggles regarding my eating, and I wanted to share it with everybody. So one thing that a lot of people do who are dogmatic, I'm still focused on low carb eating. I think that if you are so focused on being perfect, you're not going to be able to get it right. And what I'm here today to talk to you and just discuss and start a dialogue, hopefully, is what can you do when things maybe aren't going quite the way you'd want them to? People get frustrated, including me, get frustrated at just not, and it's not a horrible situation for me, but it does get out of hand if you let it go too long. What's gone on with me is I've been, weight is not the only indicator, but weight is something that I look at just to make sure that I'm, doing the right things, eating the right foods, that kind of thing. So over the last month, life has been a little bit stressful. Basically moving into two different positions within the 1 to 2 month period, and it's required a lot of mental energy to be able to do well in both of those opportunities. The thing though that sort of lapsed was I let my eating at times, not most of the time I ate properly, but on two different occasions, because we had training classes and did potlucks at the end of it, I let that go, and then that sort of set me back as far as my eating low carbohydrate focused foods. Now it's not not crazy bad situation, but basically it got me off track, and off track is sort of where I'm focusing today. To talk to you about if you get off track, what can you do to get back on track? And I'm just in the midst of getting myself back on track right now. A few points that I'm focusing on, and we'll see what happens. And I'll just tell you a little bit about my weight before I go into that. Basically, I was down to my ideal weight, which is about 185 to 190 pounds, and I was fluctuating a couple pounds either way. And you know what? I don't weigh myself as often anymore, but for a period I was weighing myself daily. Try to keep it to a couple times a week now. But your body will fluctuate weight. You should always weigh yourself around the same time of day, and in the same situation. In other words, if you've eaten or if you haven't eaten, I prefer to do it before I've eaten in the morning. And but anyway, I was sort of sitting in the 185 to 190 range, and then the first potluck, I ate any carbs I wanted. I basically enjoyed myself, made chili for the potluck, which I usually do, and enjoyed myself some foods that I normally wouldn't indulge in, and that would include any carbohydrates, buns, pasta, pizza, and lots of sweets as well. So, and I enjoyed it. And I'll tell you this: if you're ever going to cheat, it's up to you whether you do or don't. I think that if you can avoid it, it's best to do that. But there's times where you just, I want to give it a try, but understand the consequences. That when you cheat, you're going to be off track, and you need to get yourself back on the on track as soon as you can, because it can get out of hand. And I'll just give you the example of what I'm getting to. I know I'm being a little bit wordy, but bottom line is, I'm now in the 195 range as opposed to 185 to 190. So I'm more around the 195. So essentially, I put in on between 5 and 10 pounds over that period of time, a month or two, of just eating twice, and just not and having a hard time getting back on to the correct or my correct way of eating, and that would be lower carbohydrates with some vegetables, the non-starchy vegetables, and but still eating to satiety. In other words, eating till I'm not hungry anymore. But again, even during that period, I haven't been strict, so I've seen the weight slowly creep up a little bit. So now I need to get back to it and stop eating those things that are causing me to store fat on my body. Do it, and this is a good thing to do, is if you can do it before it becomes a problem. Some of the dogmatic people who talk about this way of eating, the low carbohydrate way of eating, ketogenic way of eating, say you should never cheat, and that if you do, it's not a good situation. And some people say you should never cheat, and I think that life throws curveballs sometimes. So some of the things you need to consider: how much stress are you under? Stress can cause hormones, and stress can cause more weight issues and more health issues than necessarily eating the wrong foods. And then when you eat the wrong foods, it actually adds to your body's ability to store fat as opposed to burning it. So diet's very important. I think it's a huge part of your dynamic of whether you're burning fat, whether your body's organs are working efficiently. Also, you put yourself more at risk for other diseases, and you don't want to be doing that. So the best way to get back on track is to take it one day at a time. So if you decide that one day you're not going to eat the right way, the next day make a decision, make a timeline, and say you try the next day to get back to it and say it just doesn't work. Don't give up. Just say, okay, the next meal. Start with the next meal, saying the next meal is going to be low carb. And then take it one meal at a time until you can get back into the pattern of eating properly again. That's what I'm doing. Not to mention, you should also incorporate some activity into your day. That means basic stuff like taking walks, maybe doing some resistance training, lifting some weights, something like that. Something to get your body metabolism used to being in a better metabolic state. And exercise contributes to that efficiency of your system. I like to keep it simple. I think that people complicate it too much. I do definitely pay attention to the amount of fat I eat. When I'm on this type of eating, I want to definitely eat as much fat as I can. Healthy fats, I'm talking about from saturated fats from animals. I'm not talking about vegetable oils or those kind of things. You don't want to be eating that. Coconut oil is amazing as long as it's 100% preferably virgin coconut oil. Fats from animals, some dairy if your body can tolerate it, and but you don't. And the other focus also that I always find is very helpful is to truly understand the level of protein that you should be eating and don't go over it. Because if you go and eat too much meat or too much protein from other sources as well, it can cause your body to go into gluconeogenesis, and that would mean essentially converting that additional protein into sugar and causing your body to stop burning fat. So that's a consideration as well. Personally, for my weight, like even around the 190, 195 range, I will keep it to about 80 grams of protein in and around that range. I try not to go above 100 under any circumstances. And a couple of it doesn't take much. A couple of pork chops brings you into that range with some eggs. So you want to be getting a lot of your calories from fat. That would be coconut oils, saturated fat from animal sources, butter, preferably a butter that's from healthier sources. You don't want to get too much processed butter. You definitely don't want to be going anywhere near margarine. So those kind of fats are really important in getting yourself back into eating correctly. If your body has enough fat, you won't feel hungry as much and you'll be able to be successful. Now, there can be times when you just won't lose weight for a long period of time, perhaps even gain it. But if you focus on just eating the right things most of the time, the 90-10 rule that I tend to go by, so 90% of the time eat the right way and 10% of the time we don't, you can occasionally cheat. But when you're trying to get back on track, try to be as strict as you can to eating the highest level of healthy fats and some protein and very low carbs. And you'll find yourself over the next month or two, you start to move in the right direction. It does take time to get back into ketosis once you're out of it. So sometimes people think it'll be 3 days or a week. Sometimes it takes longer. So it all depends on your body chemistry, your hormonal response, your insulin resistance, and all those things will contribute, and the amount of sleep you get, the amount of cortisol being released in your body because of stress, all those things contribute to your success in getting back to a better way of being. So my focus now in the next few days, the next month or two, is to eat properly again, to not stray off track anymore. Thankfully, the training is essentially done. No more potlucks. And maybe next time there's a potluck, I might have to abstain from it. As much as I like to be part of group activity, I found it definitely threw me off track in this situation. We're all human. Some people are more successful at sticking to this all the time than others. So if you are successful at that, congratulations. If you're not, then understand the strategies of getting back into it and going from there. So I know I've done a lot of talking today. Thank you so much again for your time. If you do want to send me an email, my email address is niagaraedge@gmail.com. You can also add comments to the bottom of the YouTube video. And anybody who would like to subscribe to me, please do. And if you like this video, please click the like in the YouTube, and we'll go from there. And we'll look forward to the next one. Hopefully it won't be more than a month next time. Things are looking more positive now than they have in a while. I wish everyone a good weekend, and we'll talk soon. Bye.